My name's Philip Kearns. I'm born and raised in Carrickfergus. I was brought up in a Christian home. I brought up in the Whitewell Church with mum and dad, who were both saved, and grew up right through the church, through Sunday school, through the meetings, prayer meetings, Bible studies, cleaning our shoes on a Saturday night before we went to church. Mum being made to make sure the potatoes were peeled before Sunday. Nothing like that was ever allowed to be done on a Sunday. So the whole way right through until I was 17, 18. Never knew anything about alcohol, never seen a cigarette lit in my life. It was a clean Christian home. And then met this girl, got married, and she got pregnant before we were due to be married. And it all broke loose then. I panicked, obviously being taught that, you know, this was the wrong thing to happen. And the marriage didn't last that long. We had a beautiful daughter, Courtney, and we separated. And that was the beginning of all I can, looking back on it now, hell breaking loose in my life. Yes, it didn't necessarily start off being a problem. It was when I felt free to indulge in alcohol. Obviously when I was married I felt I'm free. Mum and dad had brought us up. If somebody was looking at it from the outside, very, very strict, but loving way. So it started off with, you know, the odd beer, going out, having it with a meal, which I enjoyed, being introduced to wine and things, you know, and it just, it just didn't hit me, but that was the start. Oh my goodness me, at the time, not realising it, awful. It is devastating, and you don't know the impact that that's in front of you. I'm talking 17 years later. I didn't realise I was actually getting hooked on alcohol. At the start, it was a social thing, and my life was full of sin and backsliding. And looking back on it, I see how selfish I was, and I see how I used alcohol as a crutch to deal with circumstances. I'm talking about relationships, immorality, sex, partying. That's all I wanted to live for. That's all that kept me going. That was just a process that you only realise when it's nearly too late. My circumstances that brought me to there was I was homeless. My family didn't know how to deal with me. I was arriving at church drunk. The church didn't know how to deal with me. That's what I felt at the time. I felt completely rejected. I had started not only alcohol, I had started prescribed medication. I had started horse tranquilizers. I had started overdosing on paracetamol. I had started overdosing on medication that the doctors had given me. In most cases, thinking I don't want to wake up. And most mornings I woke up and I went, "You're still, what are you doing here? You know, what is it all about?" And at the very end, I lost my home. I lost my business. I lived in the streets of Belfast. I was begging. I was going through the rubbish bins looking for cigarette butts. I was spending every last penny I had either on drugs or the smallest bottle of vodka that I could get to put me asleep at night, to get me through, so that I wouldn't feel cold. I had attempted suicide. They had put me into Holywell for a short period of time, and they brought me out. And I have to be honest with you, I had finished with God, as far as I was concerned. The way that my mum and dad brought me up and the strict that they were, I started to blame them on the reason why I had rebelled. They hadn't let me live my life the way I wanted to when I was younger. I blamed everybody but myself. I tried to hang myself here at home in the garage, and I fought with my mum. She tried to stop me doing that, and that's when I became directly involved with Teen Challenge through my mum not knowing what to do. Leroy had been phoned and came down, and to be honest I can't really remember, but I remember Leroy walking through the door. I don't know exactly what was said, but that was the beginning of what I believe is 5 years later my journey. I believe that God wanted me to go to Teen Challenge. I believe that it's a ministry that when nobody else wanted to know, and when family couldn't even help you, the Teen Challenge was there and offered me hope, offered me a break. And I remember Leroy taking me across in the airplane, and I went in there and I was brought in. I wasn't sure what to expect because I'd never been in a place like this before. And I went in and the guys were lovely, and it was warm, it was bright. Hope. I was looking forward to it in a strange way, because you were away from home and you were away from family. And it was like a new beginning for me. It was like a new beginning. I didn't know what was going to. And Teen Challenge strip searched me and laid down the rules, and they fed me, watered me, gave me a bed. I believe the Lord visited me. I was carrying baggage and weight and guilt. You can imagine over the last 17 years of all that I had been up to and the road that I had taken. He came to me and he you sing about it, he took my burdens away. The burden lifted from me that morning night. And I didn't ask for it, I wasn't looking for it. And no drug, no piece of alcohol or no relationship could ever take that baggage off me. I felt like a new man. I didn't know what was going on, to be honest with you. And for the first time in a long time, I seen how blue the sky was. I seen how green the grass was. And I remember a spider crawling across the ground. I looked at it and I seen how wonderfully it was made. And from June, and then coming out of, and that was the beginning for me then. And from June, July, August, September till I went to Teen Challenge. And I remember Lee asking me, "Phil, you sure you're ready? You sure you need Teen Challenge?" Because the Lord saved me and he was beginning to do a work in me, but I believe he still needed me to go to Teen Challenge so that I could see what I would be saved from. Because there was guys over there who were worse than me. The Lord Jesus Christ has come into my life and changed it and given me life. Life and joy that I've never known. But not airy, fairy, flowery, gardeny life, because in the last 5 years coming out of Teen Challenge, there has been challenges ahead for me. Things thrown at me that I still have to deal with from my past, because what you sow you reap. And the Lord has given me the strength to deal with those things. Things that I could never have dealt with, that only I'd have touched for the bottle. I'd have went for the drug or the bar or the relationship or the party to get over those things. He's given me the strength and the ability. Looking back, it's a miracle for me. And I praise him for that. Yes, I was asked to play the drums for the choir. In fact, the truth be told, God has taken me on a circle, because when I left and backslid, that's where I was, and He has put me in the place where I left off from. My daughter, who I hadn't seen in 10 years, turned up at my door a year ago at Christmas, and that was a miracle, to be honest with you. He's planted my feet. He's restored the relationship between me and my mum and my brothers.
And you're back working?
I have my own business again, back again where I left off. I have my own business, and anybody that wants fish or meat or chicken, www.dcfood.co.uk.